Hey guys, so today we're going to do notes on special right triangles. So we have a 45, 45, 90. And what that means, those are the angle measures. So you're going to have two 45-degree angles and a 90, 45, 45, 90. Notice this is isosceles. Two of the angles are congruent, so two of the sides are congruent. And this picture right here is actually your formula. Okay, that is your formula. X root 2. So notice your legs across from those 45-degree angles should be labeled with X. And your hypotenuse should be X root 2. So the X root 2 is actually your formula. So you're always going to start with that formula. So if you look at example 1, first we would start with our formula. So our legs should be, oh wait, here's the triangle. We know it's a 45, 45, 90. So we're going to label our legs. We're going to label them X, X, and X root 2. So according to this, we know X is 7, which means we know X is 7. And we know X root 2 is 7 root 2. And you're done. This side is 7 root 2. This side is 7. Okay, so sometimes X is given to you. Other times it's not given to you. So here we labeled it X, X, X root 2, and we noticed that X root 2 equals 10. So we actually have to solve for X. So X times the square root of 2 equals 10. Oops, 10. We're going to divide both sides by the square root of 2. So those will cancel. You'll get X equals 10 over the square root of 2. Now, we cannot have a square root in the denominator. So to rationalize, we want to get rid of the square root of 2, so we're going to multiply top and bottom by square root of 2. So up top you get 10 root 2, right? 10 times the square root of 2. In the bottom you get square root of 2, which makes square root of 4. And I'm just trying to show out all those steps. Square root of 4 is 2. And then your last step, 10 divided by 2 gives me 5 root 2. So you know X is 5 root 2, and then you come back to your picture. So you know X, you know this side is 5 root 2, and you know this side is 5 root 2. And they have all that work for you. I just wanted to kind of explain it. So we'll do a couple together from this, and then you'll finish it up. So first, label your picture. So across from your 45 should be X, X, X root 2. And then notice here, we know X equals 2, which means X equals 2, which means X root 2 equals 2 root 2. So my missing sides were 2 and 2 root 2. Let's try number 3. So again, label your formula X, X, X root 2. So this right here tells me that X root 2 equals 8 root 2. Right? That's what that formula tells me. So we're going to divide by the square root of 2. We want to get X alone. And this one actually winds up being really nice. X equals 8. So we know this side is 8. And we know this side is 8. Because X equals 8. So some of them are pretty easy. And then you get ones like number 2 or number 6. Those are the harder ones. And you'll be able to pick those out once you start getting the hang of this. So here, X, X, X root 2. So here's your formula. Here's your equation. X root 2 equals 4. Divide both sides by the square root of 2, because again we want to get X alone. And so here we have X equals 4 over the square root of 2. And again, remember you can't have a square root in the denominator, so we're going to multiply top and bottom by the square root of 2. So up top we have 4 root 2. I'm going to go ahead and combine a step here. Square root of 2 times the square root of 2 is the square root of 4. The square root of 4 is just 2. And you can simplify. 4 divided by 2 leaves me with 2 root 2's. So there's your x. So you come back here, you know this is 2 root 2, and you know this side is 2 root 2. We'll try one more and then I'll leave you to finish up the homework. Or actually we'll move on to 30/60s. Alright, so we have x, x root 2. Alright, so we know here x equals 27 root 2. So you know x equals 27. Oops, where's my eraser? Try that again. X equals 27 root 2. And x root 2, be careful with this, x was 27 root 2. That was x, and we have to multiply it by the square root of 2. So that's x times the square root of 2. So we've got 27 times root 2 times root 2 is the square root of 4. The square root of 4 is just 2. So you got 27 times 2, which is 54. So you know that side is 27 root 2, and that side is 54. I feel like that should be good on examples for 45/45s. That's pretty much all the cases you can really run into. Is they either give you a leg or they give you the hypotenuse, and those are the two routes you take. So moving on, we're going to move to 30/60/90s. Now these ones are a little more complex. So if you notice here, it's scaling this time, right? All the angles are different, all the sides are different. So we have something called a short leg. And that's across from your 30 every time. So across from your 30 is your short leg, that's your x. We have our long leg. And that'll be across from your 60, that's your x root 3. And your hypotenuse is still across from the 90. And that formula is 2x. So now our formula changed a little bit. Our formula changed. But you're still doing the same concept. So let's mark our formula. Here's my 30, travel across, x. Here's my 60, travel across, x root 3. That's a 3. And then across from my hypotenuse, or sorry, my right angle is my hypotenuse, 2x. So that's literally just marking the formula. And here, you notice they gave us x equals 2. So if x equals 2, 2x is 2 times 2, which is 4. So my hypotenuse is 4. X root 3 would be 2 root 3. And my long leg is 2 root 3. So we like when they give us x. We like when they give us the short leg. Sometimes they give you the long leg, right? Still the same concept. Go to your 30, travel across, give it an x. 60, travel across, x root 3. And your hypotenuse is always that 2x. So here's the equation you want to write. X root 3 equals 12 root 3. So here we want to get x alone. We're going to divide both sides by the square root of 3. Those cancel, and we have x equals 12. So we know x equals 12. And we know 2 times x would be 2 times 12, which is 24. So you know your hypotenuse is 24, you know your short leg is 12, and we already knew our long leg was 12 root 3. So we're just finding those missing sides. Now, very similar to the last type of problem is, I lied. We're gonna do number 3 real quick. So across from the 30 is my x. Across from the 60 is my x root 3. And my hypotenuse is still that 2x. So here's my equation, right? 2x equals 6. Divide both sides by 2. You get x equals 3, and now we can go plug it back in. We know x equals 3. So my short leg is 3. We know x root 3 is going to be 3 root 3. So my long leg is 3 root 3, and we already knew my hypotenuse was 6. So now kind of talking about the last set of problems, we had the harder example, right, where we had to rationalize. Very similar to number 5 in this one. So we're going to look at example 5, and this will be our last one. So we're going to label x root 3. This is like the hardest case. We know x root 3 equals 27, right? There's my equation. So we're going to divide by the square root of 3. It's very similar to the hard case in the last one. So we have 27 over the square root of 3. And again, you can't have a square root in the denominator, so we're going to multiply top and bottom by the square root of 3. So up top we have 27 root 3. And in the denominator, root 3 times root 3 is the square root of 9. Square root of 9 is 3. We're going to simplify. 27 divided by 3 leaves me with 3 root 3. So that's my value for x, which means x is 3 root 3. So there's my short leg. 2x is 2 times x, 2 times 3 root 3's. And we multiply our whole numbers. 2 times 3 gets me 6 root 3's. So my hypotenuse was that 6 root 3. So very similar to how you did it. And if you want another example, they did one for you up in the top as well. So you can see that one worked out. They did a couple of examples for you up here as well. You do not have to finish this paper. You do not have to finish this paper. You'll go and finish the special right triangles worksheet that's uploaded.